Let's talk about pirates today, but not the modern-day boring ones, rather the interesting ones. For example, the pirate who could walk after being beheaded. The name is Klaus Stortebeker, a German pirate and the leader of a group called the Victual Brothers, who lived from 1360 to supposed 20 October 1401. His name translates to empty the mug, as he allegedly could empty a 4-liter mug in one gulp. Stortebeker's crew ended up being so influential, they were eventually hired to assist in a war between Sweden and Denmark. In 1401, his crew was caught by a Hamburgian fleet led by Simon of Utrecht near Heligoland, only possible, according to a legend, because there was a traitor on Stortebeker's ship who disabled the ship's rudder. His crew of 73 were then taken to Hamburg, where they were tried for piracy and eventually sentenced to death at Grasbrook. Stortebeker, as he was not ready to give up yet, is believed to have offered a massive gold chain, long enough to enclose the entirety of Hamburg. However, his offer got rejected. The most famous legend surrounding him, however, relates to the execution itself. Stortebeker is said to have asked the mayor of Hamburg to release as many of his companions as he could walk past after his own beheading. As the axe fell, Stortebeker's headless body miraculously rose and began to walk, stepping past 11 of his men before the executioner tripped him with his foot. But unfortunately for him, the 11 men he walked past were executed with the rest of his crew, because the mayor never intended to keep his promise in the first place. As for the cocky executioner, when the Senate asked if he was tired of his work, he replied that he could easily execute the entire Senate as well. For this, the executioner himself got sentenced to death and ended up being executed by the youngest member of the Senate. And that's how the story of Klaus Stortebeker concludes. Some claims were now revoked, such as that it's now believed that he wasn't sentenced to death with as many men. But sources state that it were at least 30 men that have been buried beside him. But just imagine your headless captain walking past you and you start feeling the relief of not having to die today only to still get executed because the mayor broke his promise. That would be some angry last moments for me, I'll tell you for sure. And that brings us to the next story of the gentleman pirate Stede Bonnet. He was an English pirate and lived from 1688 to 1718. Unlike other pirates, he didn't become one because of poverty, but simply of a midlife crisis. Bonnet was born into a wealthy family, English family on the island of Barbados, and inherited the family estate after his father's death in 1694. Before he became a pirate, he was a moderately wealthy landowner. Disregarding his lack of sailing experience, he decided in 1717 that he should turn his life to piracy, so he bought a boat and set sail to the Republic of Pirates in the Bahamas. It was there that he was seriously injured due to an encounter with a Spanish ship, and also met the infamous pirate Blackbeard. The two of them became friends and started sailing together. Before separating in December 1717, together they plundered and captured merchant ships along the east coast. After Bonnet failed to capture the Protestant Caesar, his crew abandoned him and left him to join Blackbeard's ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge. Bonnet stayed on Blackbeard's ship as a guest and did not lead a crew until summer 1718, where he was pardoned by Governor Charles Eden. However, he eventually returned to piracy. In August 1718, he was caught up in combat with a naval expedition against piracy, to which he and his crew, after hours of combat, eventually had to surrender due to being outnumbered. He then was tried for 2 acts of piracy and hanged on December 10th in Charlestown. I mean, imagine telling your grandkids you were a pirate just out of boredom, and that you even sailed with Blackbeard. What a wild biography. But what if you were a criminal so powerful that the government couldn't touch you? What if you could simply retire whenever you felt like it? Well, that brings us to the story of Qing Shi. She was a Chinese pirate who commanded the largest pirate fleet in history and used her immense wealth to negotiate her retirement. Born Shiyang in 1775, she married a pirate Zheng Yi at age 26 in 1801. She became known as Zheng Yi Sao, the wife of Zheng Ye, among the people of Guangdong. After the death of her husband in 1807, she took control of his pirate confederation with the support of Zheng Yi's adopted son, Zhang Bao. While still under Zheng Yi's command in 1805, the fleet consisted of approximately 400 junks and between 40,000 and 60,000 pirates. Her ships engaged in conflict with several major powers, including the East India Company, the Portuguese Empire, and the Great Qing. Because of their immense power, in 1810 they realized that they could surrender to the Qing authorities without receiving any punishment. Just imagine being a criminal so powerful and wealthy you can just say to the government you don't want to do this anymore, and they cannot penalize you for that. That's just mind-blowing. Ching-Shi then surrendered her power and went on to live a peaceful life, dying at the age of around 69. The story of Ching-Shi is an exceptional, successful one. But have you ever heard about the pirate who was also a Democrat? The name is Bartholomew Roberts. He was an exceptionally successful pirate, measured by vessels captured. He was the most successful pirate during the golden age of piracy. He also governed his ship with a strict democratic code voted on by his crew. Bartholomew Roberts, born John Roberts in Wales in 1682, went to sea at the age of 13. By 1719, he was the second mate on the slave ship Princess, which was captured by pirates led by the Welshman Captain Howell Davis. He was forced to join the pirate crew, but Davis, the ship's captain, quickly recognized his skills as a navigator and trusted him. Although he was initially reluctant to become a pirate, Roberts soon started enjoying the life, seeing it as a clear advantage over a sailor's low wages and hard labor. He famously adopted the saying, "A merry life and a short one shall be my motto." The crew was one day captured and their captain Davis killed. As the new captain, they elected Roberts, who first was reluctant, but then is believed to have said that since he already has dirty hands and has to be a pirate, it's better to be a commander than it is to be a common man. His first order was then to avenge the death of his former captain, which was successful. He went on to live many years as a pirate, as he died 1722 due to a grape shop when he and his crew were trying to escape a pursuing ship. His wish was to be buried in the sea, so before the enemies could capture his body, his crew wrapped him inside the cruise sail, weighted his body down, and threw him overboard. His body was never found a fitting end for a man who lived by his own rules, and so we conclude our look at one of history's most legendary pirates, the ones you wouldn't stereotypical imagine. Let us know which story you like the most and what other videos you want to see.